Hello, happy full moon. As always, I'm doing readings, info in the about section. We have made it. Okay, so two different things. First, we've made it in the sense of I'm looking at the chart for where we are right now with our solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, everything, of course. But Jupiter and Saturn and Mercury are all direct. It's funny how I mean 'cause I've been doing this for like 10 years, so I've seen so many things go retrograde, and at the same time even, but it is trippy to look at this and go, wow, they're all direct. Whoa, what? We've for all of October, or well, up until this point, anyways. We've had at least two of these three things retrograde, and we've gone into it. We've already talked about that. If you want to check out more info on that, it's good to go into. But essentially, it's just on the one hand, we've made it, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. On the other hand, we are at the full moon, and I think especially over the next 24 hours, we are going to be going through the biggest challenge of this full moon, which is the moon being opposite not only Mercury, which is still in its post retrograde shadow period. That was more so earlier today, but the real challenge here is it being opposite Mars and of course the Sun with the full moon over the next 24 hours. So we've made it through so much of it, but we're at the finish line of this time period of needing to be patient and needing to really check ourselves and make sure that we're not exploding in anger and making sure we're not burying stuff. It's been, man, to make sure that we're dealing with delays effectively, it's been quite a test. And unfortunately, some people are really losing their cool during this time, and that's the big challenge here, is just to make sure that we're not losing our cool. I've seen on the news, there's like road rage and homicide and whatnot. It's like, so sad, because if we just make it through the next 24 hours, then we'll be able to and make it through the next 24 hours and not exploding in anger or impatience, then we truly have made it, and from here on it's really smooth sailing. Like I've said before, with these retrograde periods with Jupiter and Saturn and Mercury, they are all direct, but they still are going through their post-shadow period. In a sense, we're kind of cruising for the rest of the year, but for the rest of October especially, we're really cruising because that's when Mercury's main post-shadow retrograde phase is going on. So it's essential for the rest of October to have this mindset of, okay, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm going to do my best. I am moving forward. I don't mean like being completely passive. Of course, I never mean that. But while setting our goals, while going forward with the actions, still being flexible. That's the key thing with retrograde periods, is we need to be flexible. We need to listen to our instincts. We need to pay attention to what the universe is telling us, to what God is telling us about the outside world, to understand, okay, is it the right time to act? Is it the right time to speak, etc.? And so often with these kind of energies throughout all of October, and especially for the next 24 hours, we might feel this now's the right time. Yeah, whatever. I don't the signs or how I feel internally. No, whatever. Now's the time. And then we rush things. We stumble. We fall. We crash, burn. It's like we have to be patient. We must. And for the next 24 hours, especially, I think it's all the more crucial because, like they say, it's darkest before the dawn, and we're not quite at dawn yet. It's getting lighter. It's like we're starting to get lighter, and that's beautiful. But well, I guess that kind of mixes the metaphors. But in any case, I guess some people are kind of not paying attention to the dawn getting lighter in this case, because with these energies, as I was saying on the news and around the world, we're all going to be experiencing this. Whether we let it take over us, of course, as always, is up to us with our awareness and our diligence and making sure that we're staying true to that awareness. So again, it's so important to, now that we're so close to the finish line of just being able to get through this retrograde season and be patient and integrate the great gifts of inner knowing, and again, like we've been talking about, paying attention to the long-term visions of what we want to manifest in our lives, what kind of lives we want to lead, what our ideal lives are, setting ourselves up for this whole next year and really like years, even decades of growth with all of this Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius energy. Really, it's like for the next 20 years, that's a major part of this, because Jupiter and Saturn work in 20-year cycles. They've been conjunct all year. This is kind of the grand shebang because we have so much trine energy going on. Also, Jupiter and Saturn they have gone now direct over the last couple of weeks, and they've been retrograde all summer, even since late spring. So we're at this time period where it's like, oh, if we just don't lose our cool, we're good, we're good. So again, internally, externally, especially dealing with other people. Again, I think what's so tragic, and also, I don't want to say funny, and I don't mean to be insensitive when I say funny, but it's just like so like absurd, is we're at this point where like we're so close. Let's just like, even when moon goes into Taurus, that's going to be okay, cool. We're out of the full moon. We're out of the last phase of major intensity, where we can lose our cool for a good long while. And again, it's so frustrating, sad, in a way, funny, in an absurd way. Not like I don't mean to laugh at any other people's pain or anything. Of course, but it's like, for people, for example, who experience that road rage, it's like, you were so close. You were so close. And again, I think the challenge here is not just like moon opposite Mars and Sun. That's challenging enough, sure, but it's the fact that we've had so much delay and so much things not quite clicking in the outside world, and deep thoughts, and figuring out again what we're gonna be doing for our future, that all that frustration builds up. And that's really where the most dangerous time periods happen, because we've been going through, and this happens periodically with different planet configurations, different energies, but there are times like these where certain retrogrades add up, or certain challenging transits add up. And we've had this time period throughout October, and it's been really important and really great for us in a lot of ways. But again, just focusing on the challenge real quick, September and October is when it started really heating up, because Mars and the Sun started being conjoined. But we're looking at basically since May. In certain ways, things have not been clicking since May, and that's okay. That's normal. It's good. But especially if we don't study astrology, it can feel like, oh my God, life is just this from now on. And of course, it never is just this. It's always transits, moving on, a new life chapter starts. Every couple days, in a sense, with the moon going from one energy to the next. But especially with these long-term transits, yeah, it takes a long time for Jupiter. It takes about a year for Jupiter to go through an entire energy. It takes 2.5 for Saturn, but they do move forward. So that's always good to keep in mind. Keep that principle in mind. It's all phases. And certainly, like, we can ride long-term phases that are really good, really lovely, and we can build with the transit, so we can continue to grow. It doesn't have to be like chaos as per the phases. But keep that in mind whenever you're going through a hard time, is it inevitably will shift. Inevitably. Uncertainty is the only certainty we have in life, and that's a good thing. It keeps things moving. It keeps things flowing. We just have to learn how to kind of ride with it, swim with it, surf it. So you're already watching this. Honestly, you're doing a great job. I'm just being real. This is going to mainly be challenging for people who don't already think introspectively, don't reflect. Because to even study astrology, you have to be asking questions and be kind of curious, like, what is existence? Who am I? Why am I feeling this way? Why do I think this? What's going on in the outside world as per transits, etc. So, but for everybody, we should never be egotistical. I check the transits every day, and it helps my life every day, even though I've been studying this for a decade. So just keep this in mind for the next 24 hours. We're so close, and as long as we just stay calm and keep breathing, then we can have a lovely time, and we can have a lot of fun and play. That's a cool thing going on, is Venus in Sagittarius, which is all about fun and play, is trine Moon in Aries, and we can really enjoy this full moon if we avoid the pitfall of getting caught in the mindset of us versus them, projecting onto the them in this case of you are the reason that I've been so frustrated since May. You are the reason that my life is delayed in certain ways. You are the obstacle. And it's like, no, all that is illusion. That is just ego. That's fear. It's fear. The ultimate illusion is fear. And every illusion having to do with ego comes back to fear. So as long as we just breathe, work out. Definitely work out. I worked out this morning. It was great. Don't push yourself too hard. That's really important. Like my body was saying, I was like, I want to lift weights. And my body's like, you need to stretch. we have other goals that need to be reached before you need to focus on that goal. I was like, okay, fine. So don't let your ego get in the way. Don't let your mind get in the way. Just get into your body in a really healthy way and have fun over the next day. And that's really the best of what this time period is. And so, in addition to that great fun, is the best is also avoiding the worst, which seriously is quite challenging. So don't do that. Please, for your sake, for the world's sake. But yeah, I think again for people who are watching these videos, it's going to be more of a case of avoiding people who are doing that, who are getting caught in the ego and anger and fear. So yeah, I wish more people would pay attention to transits and learn from these things because it makes their lives so much easier. It's so lovely to know, like, why am I feeling this? Oh, because this and then that, and then also we've been experiencing this the last 3 weeks. Oh, that's right, I have felt that for the last 3 weeks. Oh yeah, also since May. Oh wow, that has been, whatever in the future. But for us, we can keep this in mind and we can avoid those pitfalls. That's something. Infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste. Peace. As always, in the About section, I'm happy to do readings.